Everyone knows the cliche about actors who'd rather direct, but let's talk about directors who want to act. Not just pulling a Hitchcock and doing a cameo in their own movie, but doing another director a solid by appearing in theirs. Take, for example, Quentin Tarantino. Over the years, he's developed a nice little sideline, appearing in a wide variety of pictures by a wide variety of directors, including such oddities as Little Nicky co-starring alongside Adam Sandler. That movie, by the way, was directed by Stephen Brill, who got his own turn on camera in the crucial role of Dishwasher Man in Edward Scissorhands. That, of course, was directed by the incomparable Tim Burton, who you might remember for his role as a director, kind of, in 1992's Singles, directed there by Cameron Crowe, who had the great fortune as a young man to appear as a party extra in The Other Side of the Wind, the posthumous final film from the great Orson Welles. Welles' other posthumous film was an appearance in Someone to Love, directed by his longtime friend Henry Jaglom. Jaglom cut his teeth in the early 70s indie film scene, which is how he got a small part in Drive, He Said, the directorial debut of none other than Jack Nicholson. Nicholson, of course, has appeared in plenty of films, including, notably, his Oscar-nominated turn in A Few Good Men. Pause here for a comment about wanting to know the truth.
You can't handle the truth!
Which was directed by the late Rob Reiner. Vaya con Dios, Rob. Reiner started out as an actor and kept it going through appearances in films like Ed TV, which was directed by fellow 70s sitcom star Ron Howard, who had started acting as a kid and eventually got to appear next to John Wayne in his final film, The Shootist. That one was directed by Don Siegel, who played a bartender in Play Misty for Me, directed by his frequent star Clint Eastwood. Eastwood, of course, made a name for himself in Italian westerns, many of which, including The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, were directed by the great Sergio Leone. Leone was a young man when he got a walk-on role as a seminary student in the Italian neo-realist classic Bicycle Thieves, directed by Vittorio De Sica, who had a much larger role in 1957's A Farewell to Arms, that one from director John Huston. From here, things are going to get a little icky for a while, because Huston's most famous role as Noah Cross in Chinatown led him to be directed by Roman Polanski, who scored himself a cameo in Rush Hour 3, directed by fellow icky director Brett Ratner, who was just carrying forward the skeevy train by appearing as himself in Black and White from director James Toback, who played a professor in Alice, directed by, Woody Allen, who made a rare appearance in a film that he didn't direct by showing up in The Imposters by, oh thank you God, Stanley Tucci. Tucci, early in his career, played a gangster in Quick Change, which is to date the only directing credit, or co-directing credit if you want to get technical, for Bill Murray. He's usually in front of the camera in things like Lost in Translation, which earned him an Oscar nomination, and which was written and directed by Sofia Coppola. For Coppola, we're going to skip the whole Godfather Part 3 thing, Dad, and instead go to her silent cameo in The Phantom Menace, directed of course by George Lucas. And don't blink, because Lucas had a very short and very distant cameo in Hook, directed by his old friend Steven Spielberg. Spielberg's most famous on-screen performance was as a county office clerk in The Blues Brothers, directed by his at-the-time friend John Landis, who made an appearance as Leonard Winesop, yep, that's the name, in The Muppets Take Manhattan from director Frank Oz. Oz is much more famous as a puppeteer, having played many of the Muppets and, even better, Yoda, who made his character debut in The Empire Strikes Back, directed not by George Lucas but Irvin Kershner, who played a rocking role, yes, that pun was way beneath me, as Zebedee in The Last Temptation of Christ, directed by Mr. Martin Scorsese. Scorsese has a number of appearances under his belt that we can choose from, but the most recent of these is in Outcome, a film directed by his sometime star Jonah Hill. Why is this important? Because Jonah Hill, drumroll please, had a memorable role in Django Unchained, which was directed by Quentin Tarantino. And now you know what I do with all my spare time. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, hit me with a like and subscribe and all the other things that make the algorithm happy. And we'll be back soon with more of whatever this was. Have a good rest of your day.